Christian CYInterview covering Las Vegas and the world. If you haven't already, please hit the like button below and please hit the subscribe button below to keep up with everything we have going on here at CYInterview in Las Vegas and beyond. We greatly appreciate it. Today we bring you our CYInterview from the past with the dentist to the stars, Dr. Karent, known for her time on the Real Housewives of Miami. And here is that CYInterview with Dr. Karent.
You're on CYInterview.
This is Christian. Greeting me in the front of her dental office with a hug, Dr. Karent's hello was comforting, just like her waiting room. Generating that feeling is one of her main goals for those visiting her practice in Coral Gables. The dentist to the stars, and star herself, as a member of the Real Housewives of Miami, removed her white doctor's coat, yielding a sexy red dress. Wow! Visiting the dentist had never been like this before. If it had, I would have been going for daily visits. Dr. Sierra is as confident and smart as she is charming and sweet.
This is Christian. CYInterview is on location today in Coral Gables at the Cosmetic Dentistry practice of Dr. Karent of the Real Housewives of Miami. Karent, thank you for inviting us over to your fantastic establishment before we begin.
Well, thank you for having me and welcome to my office. I believe I established a very boutique dental office in which it almost feels like a home. You know, when my patients come in, it's very warm and inviting, and I'm glad you feel at home.
So let's talk about how the Real Housewives of Miami first has changed your life.
Well, I'll tell you, it has changed my life in that I am not a private figure anymore. It's definitely, I have become a public figure. So walking the streets of Miami or any major city, people do stop, recognize me, and it's been actually very warm and inviting. I have created a fan base of people that love the way I've been portrayed or the way I've handled myself in certain difficult situations, shall we say, on the show. And it's been very rewarding having such beautiful people come up to you and just give you warm compliments and just be very supportive of myself.
People started coming to the dentist practice just to come by and say hello?
Interestingly enough, not to say hello, but actually to make appointments. The last patient that I just saw previous to this interview was somebody that saw me on the show, was interested in meeting me and was interested in getting some veneers done since she knew that I did specialize in cosmetic porcelain veneers. And I'm treating her right now.
What have you learned about yourself after being on reality television now?
You know what? I think I've learned, or I think re-strengthened what I already knew, which was that I need to be myself regardless of any situation. I need to be true to myself, true to my beliefs, and there may be some people that may not agree with the way I act or the way I think or the way I portray myself in certain situations, but as long as I do no harm, as long as I am not demeaning to somebody else and, you know, just act happy and be myself, then I have to be okay with that.
Well, some people have obviously said that you come off as a confident woman who's very comfortable in her life. Do you think that that's an honest portrayal of you?
I think it is. I consider myself a very confident woman. We all have things in our life that, whether they're tragedies, whether they're, you know, uphill situations, but it's the way you look at situations and how do you handle them. You know, we all fall down, but it's the way you pick yourself up that I think makes a strong woman or a strong man and a confident woman. And I think my eternal optimism is something that definitely helps me. You know, there's situations in life that have arisen in which you feel that it's the end of the world, but we can't just drown and wither away. We need to learn to fight, and whether there's a problem, realize there's a problem, but let's find a solution. Let's not focus on the problem.
Does your confidence and optimism make it easier for you when you ended up in reality television because of that, not worrying about what the final product is going to look like?
Well, I think so. I think the confidence definitely attributes to that because, you know, as we all know, TV is based on what you film, but also on what's being edited. And sometimes you just can't control those situations, you know. Sometimes things are edited in a certain manner in which the audience is seeing you being portrayed a certain way, and you're like, wait a second, that's not me. But as long as I said, you know, like I said before, as long as I'm true to myself and I'm true to the person that I am, then I'm okay with it.
I've read about your acting ambitions, of course, and you decided on the life of dentistry because you thought that that was the safe road. But looking at where we are right now, obviously some reality TV stars are now transforming over into TV acting. Isn't this just a whole new time and you never know what can happen?
Absolutely. The reality is that this reality show and the whole TV station of Bravo, it's a wonderful platform. It's become so popular. So many people watch it, and so many people have had the opportunity to have their doors opened in different careers. So I'm open to the possibility of other opportunities being presented to myself.
What have you learned? You've done a lot of commercials, as I know. What have you learned from all those experiences?
You know what? I think, especially being a person in the acting field, especially in the Hispanic community, in which I've done, I think, over 60 TV commercials, national TV commercials, it's wonderful. It's a great day in which, if you have the love of the art, which I do, and I enjoy being in the film and acting industry. It's a wonderful industry because when I do the commercials, it's a one-day shoot. We're filming. It's great and all. You feel like a star. You go back home, but then it's back to reality. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of people that have made it big in the acting industry, they forget that. You can be up on top, on the peak of the mountain one day, and the next day you can't. So it's a matter of treating everyone the same, and just being real to yourself. And just because you're recognized, just because you're popular, just because now you become a quote-unquote celebrity doesn't mean that you're above anybody else.
Yeah, well, speaking of that, it seems like the foreigners that are not from America seem to see acting more as a job.
You know what? I think anyone will see it as a job if they don't enjoy what they do. When you have a passion for what you do, whether it's my dentistry or my acting, I don't see it as a job. I wake up in the morning eager, happy, ready to, take on my day in whichever, either one of the careers that I will be doing. So for me, it's not a job, it's a passion.
Well, I think it's tough, of course, being the new kid on the block, joining season 2 of The Real Housewives of Miami, of course, but with all that confidence, not worrying about fitting in?
You know what? There's always that, little insecurity inside of all of us, I think, when you're new to a group. Like I said, we're all human. I'm human, whether I portray it on the physical aspect and show the people, or I just hold it within. But I think there's always a slight insecurity or a slight fear of the unknown, of knowing will you fit in and will these girls like me. But I don't harbor on that thought. I just live my life and have made wonderful friends throughout the season.
So what have you learned by spending time with all of these women?
I've learned that at the end of the day, which has become a very famous saying of mine, that at the end of the day, there's going to be people that will judge you, will like you, or dislike you just because of the person that you are. And once again, if you're true to yourself, you need to be okay with that. You need to realize that, not to want to speak about religion, but not even God was liked by everyone. So, as long as you do no harm and you have the best of intentions for everyone, if someone decides that they want to feel that they don't want to like you, I have to be okay with that. And I think that's part of it.
So let's talk about some of the new developments in cosmetic dentistry.
Well, I'll tell you, cosmetic dentistry is evolving every day. We have some wonderful materials that just 10 or even 5 years ago we didn't have. I specialize, obviously, in a lot of extreme makeovers, which is basically doing someone's patient's full mouth, all 28 teeth in one sitting. We prepare all their teeth, they leave with temporaries, and then we deliver their veneers 2 to 3 weeks later. And the material of the porcelain that we've been using is so amazing that most of my patients, if they were to smile at you, you would say what a beautiful smile they have, but you had no idea that they actually had porcelain veneers. And that's the idea, is for them to have this beautiful natural smile that they've always longed for, they've always wished for, but whether it's genetics, hereditary, or just financial reasons, they weren't able to have that smile, and I'm able to give that to some patients.
Feel like you're changing people's lives?
You know what? I do. And it's been so rewarding to be able to change patients' smiles, patients' lives, because not only am I changing their physical appearance, it truly is that I'm changing their emotional appearance as well. Their emotional well-being exudes the moment that they feel that they look better. All of a sudden, they're happier people. So their self-esteem has been increased. They feel better about themselves. All of a sudden, they're either in new relationships or getting better jobs or making new friends. And it's so rewarding for patients to come up to me a couple of weeks after I've delivered their veneers and tell me, Dr. Sierra, you changed my life. And I'm like, wow, it's amazing that it's not just a physical aspect, but an emotional one as well.
Let's talk about the main services that you have here at your practice.
Well, like I said, I do have a boutique dental spa, and the word spa encompasses many things. And not only, like I said, do I specialize in cosmetic dentistry, but we started realizing that once we started transforming patients' smiles, they wanted to have other improvements as well, and they didn't want to have to shop around or go to different offices. So I started implementing Botox, Juvederm, a couple of fillers in order to be able to improve their whole face. And then we moved on to painless hair laser removal, which I am one of 2 machines in all of South Florida that actually have this machine. There's a lot of places, whether it's in South Florida or the United States, that advertise hair laser removal. But there's very few, there's a very small percentage that actually offers painless hair laser removal. And so that's been a wonderful adjunct to our office because the patients have been so happy to be able to just get everything done in this office. They don't have to go to 3 different offices for their Botox, for their dentistry, or for their painless hair laser removal. We're able to do everything here at once.
A very interesting concept.
Yes, it is. And, besides those, besides those offerings, or things that we offer in the office, we're able to, like I said, create an atmosphere of a spa. It doesn't smell like a dental office. It doesn't look like a dental office. When patients walk in, they're greeted. I always like to compare this office to the Ritz-Carlton of dentistry. Our front office, which is our team that actually makes it, it's not just myself. It's having a wonderful team in this office. It expects them, the moment they walk in the door, they don't need to introduce themselves. Whether it's Jesse or Veronica, my staff, they know who they are. They're already welcoming. Mr. Smith, welcome. How are you? So it's more of a family atmosphere that they don't feel that it's this cold, sterile environment of a dental office.
And it's funny because obviously you had the show business aspirations before ending up in dentistry, and now you're a celebrity because you're a dentist.
I know. It's interesting how life works out, right?
And did you ever think that would happen?
You know what? I didn't. Like I said, I always had a passion for acting and TV and film, and I did many things as far as being on a Spanish soap opera before I was in dental school, many TV commercials even before then, hosting TV shows, but I never imagined that it would take this route into the American market, and I'm obviously very happy it has.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of that, of course, some of you call you the dentist of the stars, of course. One of your big titles, of course, some of your clients have included Eva Longoria, David Foster, John Cicada, Pitbull. What have you learned by working with some of these celebrity clients? Any special stories or anything that you've had like an enlightening moment of?
You know what? I think the most enlightening moment is that these patients are just real people. That they've become celebrities and they've become, well-known throughout the world doesn't change their essence. I know that there could be some other celebrities out there that believe, that they're bigger than life. But, for example, John Cicada is the most humble, down-to-earth person you've ever met. So is Pitbull. There's all these people that, may misjudge them because think that they're celebrities and maybe not have every single moment of the day to answer their fans. But it's not that they don't want to. It's just that they have extremely busy lives. But they are the nicest, most down-to-earth people I think I've ever met.
Let's talk a little bit about your life growing up and what you were passionate about.
Well, you know what? I've always, ever since a little girl, been passionate about communications, about modeling, fashion, and obviously medical, always being in the medical field. I always loved playing in that little game. If you might be too young, but there was always a game called Operation, and it would buzz if you had to take off the organs. And I have those fond memories of playing with my sister's Operation. I said, I want to be a doctor. And at the same time, I'd be walking the shopping malls with my parents, and I'd stop next to a mannequin. I'd start pretending I was a mannequin, and I'd start, performing shows and fashion shows for my family during family reunions. So it's been a combination of communications, TV, acting, modeling, medical field, and I am so blessed and fortunate to be able to encompass pretty much all my passions, at this moment in time.
Let's talk about your charitable causes.
Yes, I actually started a foundation 3 years ago, and it is called Sharing Smiles, and it is a foundation in which we offer free dentistry to underprivileged children that normally would not have the financial resources to get their mouth treated. And we all know the correlation between periodontal disease, which is gum disease, and how it affects your systemic disease. It affects the valves of the heart. It could even affect having or causing, shall we say, tremors in the body. seizures, and so many other diseases that I think the public is not really aware of the correlation.
It would be wrong of me not to ask you, what is the biggest problem you see among your patients? Let's get some dentist advice.
The biggest problem, I think, is lack of education when they come to me at first. I think that I'm not here to criticize any other dentist. I'm just here to try to do the best job that I can as a dentist. So my idea and philosophy is tell, show, do. We have every type of technology available in this office. We have intraoral cameras. We have digital Xrays. So not only do I like to tell a patient, okay, you have this cavity, you have this going on, I show them. Because normally you're not able to open up your mouth wide enough and be able to see in the mirror and see what's going on. So this intraoral camera allows me the ability to be able to take pictures of every single angle of the tooth and show them so that they can see for themselves, this is what's going on, look what's going on. And all of a sudden, when they're able to visualize it and see it on a TV screen, they're like, oh my gosh, I've never seen that before. So I think sometimes seeing is believing, and when the patient can see for themselves, they can own up to their problems, and I'm able to treat them much better.
Okay, so to clear up the record and just set the record straight, is Karent single and ready to mingle?
Right now, Karent is single and ready to mingle.
And what are you looking for now going forward then?
You know what? I'm looking forward to obviously grow in my career, have opportunities to hopefully get a little bit more involved in the film and TV industry. I love comedy, I love drama, so I'm pretty much open to anything that comes my way.
Karent, thank you so much for joining me today. We'll continue our conversation here, and thank you for being on the CYInterview.
Thank you so much for having me. You're always welcome to come back and visit me whenever you like.
Thank you so much.
For CYInterview, I'm Chris Yandek.